Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing about the video that went viral. And later on the show, we'll be speaking with the Permanent Secretary, Youth and Social Development, Mrs. Oke Osonyitolu, later to let us know what kind of charges they plan to press concerning. Because I'm looking at them, I'm wondering, okay, how do you press charges? I mean, what are the various charges? And we'll hear from them later. But I know somebody was saying something.
Yes, I was going to say, Mike, are you done? You were saying?
Continue.
Okay. So I was going to say that one of the comments I also noticed, I picked out underneath this, is someone said, this child did not even flinch, really. It shows that there's a culture. Maybe this child is even used to being beaten.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about this woman in school, a teacher in school, some people come from homes where they're hit like that. They slap them around, they beat them so hard that even what the teacher may have done that we saw did was maybe nothing compared to what they see at home or have gone through at home. So this fight is not just against this one woman in this school that was caught on camera. It's for all of us. Let's decide what works. Waike, you made an example. You know, you said when you were at school you were beaten. I remember my math teacher too in school. What he used to do when you failed the test, how many marks you lost, you bring your hand out and he would hit you for the number of times, and then he will give you sweets for the number of times he hit you. So if you lose 4 marks, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then give you 4 sweets to go away. It was not out of anger, because what I see here is you're not hitting a child to correct the child. You're not hitting the child to teach them anything. You're hitting the child because you're upset and you're angry, probably with the world and all your issues. And you've just found someone who is vulnerable, who cannot stand up to you, and you're hitting the person with all your emotions. And that is what we're talking about. I still don't, as I'm saying this, I'm not saying that beat children, but I can understand where you take measured steps towards the punishment. This is what I'm giving you. This is the reason why I'm hitting you twice or 3 times. And you cannot flog person endlessly because the person has done something wrong. 1 or 2, 5 is, for me, when you start getting to 5, it's too much. And then for a 3-year-old, for children in primary school, I don't get it. Yes, there are stubborn people. There are children that are hard to, contain. And especially if that child also already comes from violence. Maybe you feel that, okay, this method has been used for this child is what I can use. But I've seen where children who have come from violence adapt better when they are treated with kindness. And so we need to learn the different ways. But this is not a problem of this teacher. It's a problem of Nigerians as a whole, as our culture. We don't know what we want. We have not yet chosen specifically if we want beating or no beating.
I have the Permanent Secretary waiting on the line. Good morning, Mrs. Oke Osonyitolu.
Good morning.
Good to have you to join us this morning. So this story that has been going viral, and we know that the lady in question has been arrested. Could you give us an update on what the police plan to charge her with?
Sorry, say that again.
Could you give us an update on what the police are planning to charge her with?
Well, because she's under the custody of the police at the moment, I will not, the police, because they're still investigating, they're not sharing the investigations with us. All I can tell you now is that the teacher is in police custody. He was arrested yesterday morning. And the young man, Abayomi Michael, is in hospital with, his mom followed him. He's in Ikorodu General Hospital undergoing medical care. And then after that, when he's released from hospital, he's going to require counseling.
Really? Why did he go to the hospital? What happened exactly?
Were there physical injuries?
Were there physical injuries? Yeah.
Did you watch the video? If you watch the video, the force of the beating that young man got was very, very hard. So we needed to take him to hospital to rule out any problems with him medically. Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the conversation.
No, let's finish the question.
Okay, sorry for her. Okay, yes. So what I want to find out, like for the teacher, right? Is there in the school, is there a yardstick if corporal punishment is accepted within the school system or not? What is applicable? Because even if you're just arresting the teacher, what's also applicable within the school system to also know if the school will be part of the people that will be charged in this kind of situation.
Is that question, is that for me?
So, Mr. Toyin, so let me rephrase Amaka's question. Really, for Lagos State government, is there a particular standard that has been approved for schools to carry out punishment on children?
Exactly what I was going to ask.
Yes, we have child protection laws that apply to schools, that apply to teachers. So that is used as the yardstick for teachers when it comes to punishment for students. So yes, there is a yardstick.
Okay, do we know if there's a conversation with schools, you know? Yes, there's one thing to have policy, but are there conversations with schools to teach them why, you know, this sort of punishment is unacceptable, to forewarn them of... Okay, I'll start again.
There are regular meetings with schools, the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, along with various other ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Information. We have DSVA, that's the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency. We have regular meetings with schools to update them, to tell them how to treat children. Yes, there is a regular meeting.
Yeah, okay. So let me just finish the question. I was going to find out if you got feedback on why maybe some schools will insist on still doing this, and if they are aware that there are punishments attached to behaviors like that. Have you ever gotten feedback where they are insisting, you know, this is what is best for these children, and why would they think so?
Yes, they get feedback. They get feedback, and we're always open. We're always going to the schools to give them updates if there are any changes in the laws that we have. If there's anything new that we need to pass on to them. So we visit the schools as well to let them know. And there's trainings as well. We train the teachers. We're always in communication with the schools and the school management when it comes to child protection.
Okay. So is beating allowed in school? Are teachers allowed to beat at all?
No, that is a capital no.
Capital no. There are not no beatings allowed in Lagos State schools anymore.
No.
What are the acceptable punishments?
That is a capital no.
So I can also allude to that because I've worked with the former Commissioner of Education, Mrs. Folashari Adefisayo, and they had started introducing something called Eco-Excel, where they had a format on what you do to discipline a child. And she had done some spot checks, which had followed her too, where she saw a cane and she immediately accosted and said, why do you have a cane? I thought we've stopped this thing. And now I was trying to defend why he had it. So I agree with you, Pamsek, that they have stopped caning. But I guess what is concerned of us is that who is monitoring to ensure across schools that more spot checks are being checked and schools across board know that there is something they can be punished and sanctioned if they are seen hitting a child.
Aware of the consequences.
There is an agency, Office of Education Quality Assurance. That is one of their mandates. And they go on regular spot checks. They don't go alone, like I said. There's a task force. There's a task force that involves the school social work unit of the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Information. So this task force, they go out on a regular basis. They go out on a regular basis to update the school management, to update teachers. Trainings are always available for fully paid by the state government for these teachers.
Thank you. Let me let you go at this point.
But
go
then
ahead.
schools also need to be aware. They need to be aware of the type of teachers that they employ.
You're right.
You're absolutely correct.
I want to add one more.
The type of people that they employ. It goes beyond being able to teach. It's also disposition of the person.
Okay. And then where violence happens in a school by a teacher, of course, towards a child, the school itself, is the school held responsible for the action of a teacher?
Yes.
Good.
The school is held responsible. We're having a meeting with the school management tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow afternoon,
Okay.
just to do a follow-up and the way forward.
Okay.
Was that a private school or a public school?
Private school.
Sorry?
Was that a private school or a public
Hello?
school?
I didn't get that.
Okay, I think we're having some audio issues
Yes.
now. I'll have to let
Yeah.
you go because thank you very much, Pamusek Osanyitolu, for joining us today. We'll still try to reach out to the Nigerian police. Hopefully, maybe Benjamin, CSP now is no more, is no more Superintendent of Police. Now, CSP Benjamin Hudain might be able to reach out to us so that to let us know what the update is, what charges are they going to be pressing on that woman. But you see, I can also attest to what the domestic violence unit is doing in Lagos State, because I remember, I think I've shared this story before. There was a particular lesson that my daughter was attending, and so the lesson unfortunately was shut down by Lagos State government. And what happened? A parent had reported the school, the lesson to the state government, saying that they beat up a child. And the child, I mean, was really bad. Of course, because my child was with the school, I was directed out to me that, please, help us call. Who do you know? Mariel, please help. But they shut down the school. And I was not thinking what happened, saying, because we disciplined one of the children. And then the parents shut us down.
It.
So me, because my child is there, I just called Titi, the Rottweiler herself. She picked up my call. I said, sis, this is what I heard. This school, they shut down. They said that they spanked, one of the parents reported the children. I finished begging. I said, please, so what can you do for us? They are disturbing me. She said something to me. She says, Mariel, she only asked me one question. Have you seen the picture of the beating? I said, no. She said, I will send it to you, because if you see it, you won't make this call. She said, it's that bad, Mariel. So she didn't even respond to me. She said, I will send it to you. The moment she sent it to me, I just kept quiet.
I told you.
This child was black and blue. Because the fair-skinned child. So they beat up the black, and it was really bad. So the law took its course where they shut down the lesson for a period. Of course, now eventually they had a back and forth. They had to go to court. They had to do everything, because we signed to, now they had to ensure that parents signed off to say, you can beat my child. Even with that, you have to tell me why. There has to be a reason. So the processes were put in place. So I understand that. So what she's saying that the government has put things in place to make sure that they watch out. One second, Mariam, let me
Okay, but as we need to come back to the discussion on the table.
Yes.
We're talking about beating up a child that was trying to learn. Not a child that maybe went and molested on that child or abused on that child. Let's come back to the conversation. A child that is slow in learning is a child that was beat up. You have no right whatsoever to, as a parent or whoever, to beat up a child for being slow in learning. That shows the highest level of ignorance.
Incompetence,
and ignorance. Even as a parent, if you as a parent, you're beating up your child for being slow in learning, then you're very incompetent and ignorant, because if your child is still learning, you should be worried about looking for other methods,
because
and be worried.
Yeah, beating my child for not writing
So
well.
it is not correct. You need to figure out, why is my child doing this?
Right.
Is a part of his brain that is making him write a certain way? You need to do a research as a parent and an adult to know why.
And why it's not always about
when we were growing up, we didn't know about this.
No, I'm coming. No, but let me land, right? For the fact that that when you were growing up, or something was a norm for so long, doesn't make it right now.
I'm not saying
Things
it is
have
right.
changed.
Listen,
Things are
Amaka,
changing. No, let me finish. Let me land with my point. Things have changed. We now have more technology, more advanced ways of doing things. Now, even though things have changed, if you want your daughter will not allow you to treat your grandchild in the same way you were treated. And even you, as a grandmother, you will not want to. Now, if this is 2025, you will realize with environments right now that there are certain ways things should be done and how kids should be corrected, especially as regards to learning. That is my own point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, growing up, I didn't know anything about dyslexia. It is now that we have discovered, some children cannot read. They need special training to be able to read and things like that. Now, where the problem is that this teacher doesn't know that she's not even supposed to be a teacher. That is her first problem.
We don't know that. Why, Keo?
Listen.
After further investigation, you might find out that this woman might actually be
Their
a
best
qualified teacher. You'll be shocked. But see, people are coming from different places.
There is qualified and there's qualified. Because it's not just
pen and paper.
Go and write and
Exactly.
that is our own problem in Nigeria. Everybody is school. But the real, she has to be a trained psychologist, they train this. There are so many things before you treat a child of that age.
Right. You're absolutely
that you have to
correct.
go through.
Okay.
So if you don't go through it, you have no knowledge. You think that the answer is come, ha.
All right.
You can go and give the child, and the child will now faint. You say you didn't know.
So why can I hear you about all the trainings that you say, right? And then maybe we'll look at this particular picture and think...
kindness.
Good, that's where I was going. I said we can look at this particular picture.
I have to pause it. Beauty has been holding. I'm so sorry. Beauty, thanks for calling. Apologies.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Beauty. Oh, yes. I just want to support the last caller.
Okay.
Talking about teachers. Even if you are a trained teacher, before you get employed, because here in the UK, we have what we call the DB. We call it Disclosure and Barring Service. They have to check that teacher if he or she has any criminal record related to children. That is number one. And then secondly, in school, now there are things like training for special educational needs children. Because some children, they always have challenging behaviors. And these teachers trained on how to manage such behaviors. Because here in the UK, I just graduated from school and I'm teaching a primary school. We have some destructive behaviors. And the only way you can handle that, of course, we don't use cane or anything. But you need to know where that child is coming from. There is always something triggering that behavior. So if that child needs help, there's a way to give that child a certain help the child needs. So for the teacher to physically abuse the child, irrespective of what the child does, is very, very wrong.
Thank you, Beauty.
Thank you.
Yes, so I was saying that, you know, when you talk about all these trainings, you're likely to hear people say, these are low-income schools. How much money do they have that they can put towards training or things like that? But for me, what is most important, as you said, kindness, common decency. That you don't hit, at least that one does not require any fancy training. You know that as a human being, when you're in relation to another human being, there's the common kindness and decency that you must always employ when you're dealing with human beings. When you're dealing with children, there has to be some sort of empathy and, you know, even further kindness for those, for children. Now, you know, this beating, a lot of children have been beating. We're saying dyslexia, we're even going far. A lot of children have been beaten, not because they don't know how to learn, but because you that's teaching them, you don't understand the method to teach. It's not as if the child is not bright. Have you seen situations where a child will be in a particular class or with a particular teacher, and that child has been termed the dullest child ever, and moves on to another school or another teacher, and the child is so bright? So the problem was not the child, but the teacher. So this dyslexia, autism, yes, eventually we found out children have been beaten for eye problem alone because they didn't realize that they had eye problem. We use beating for everything in Nigeria. A child was running around in a supermarket, we saw it, and everybody saying, why don't you hit the child? Why didn't you beat the child? You did not put into consideration what may have caused that child to act a certain way.
But
is the why we're not having those sort of conversations.
I'll disagree with you slightly, but let me take this call. Prince, thanks for calling. You're live.
You're welcome, ma. Good morning, ma.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
When we are talking about teachers, I think when I grew up as a teacher, my grandfather was a headmaster. He taught us of being that there's a level of schools that you just go there, employ teachers randomly. NCE has time to teach teachers. They give them backgrounds, how you need to become a teacher, those levels of education you need to observe. But I observe a lot of schools because of BSc, people they just employ teachers because they have BSc. A lot of them don't have patience. They do not have patience with how to do students. I still have a child in my compound that the mother is not the teacher because the mother.
Oh, network issues. Let me. Okay, you still there? I lost that call. Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.